So recently I was making dinner for us, and it was this wonderful, beautiful beef Szechuan, sort of like stir fry with shaved beef and a bunch of different veggies and everything. And I was sitting there at the stove stirring this, and I took a video on my Instagram, and I was just like so excited to eat this meal because I just knew it was going to be delicious. It had like a delicious like reduction sauce, and it was just going to blow our pants off.
Wow.
And I was so excited to eat it. And then it got me thinking about that is something that you don't really hear a lot of people talking about, how when you live a healthy lifestyle overall and you choose to eat whole foods mostly, like, minimally processed foods. This dinner was made up of one ingredient foods: beef, cauliflower, carrots, cabbage, those types of things. And I was just so excited to eat this food. And so it just got me thinking about like how it's so wonderful when your body is like not tainted with ultra processed food all the time to where that's what you crave. Mm-hmm. You crave Doritos and Cheetos and ice cream and all of these things. Rather, you crave real food. And looking at a plate of, stir fry that you make from scratch is like your mouth is just watering, and it's totally satisfying when you eat it. And so it just made me think of like, this is totally an underrated aspect of a healthy lifestyle where you legitimately crave real food. Therefore, your food pleasure threshold is so low. For example, what I just explained, but another example, when you're not addicted to sugar, like a very ripe cantaloupe tastes better than any candy in the world to me. Like candy, bye. Like just give me a ripe cantaloupe and a spoon, and that's better to me.
Obviously, there's a million benefits to a healthy lifestyle. Mm-hmm. They're clear. Your body composition, your sex drive, your physical attractiveness.
You live longer.
Your mental health, your emotional health. These are all obvious. But these underrated ones just aren't getting enough love.
Yeah.
I mean, you're so spot on. It's a snowball effect. When you eat whole foods, your body starts to not only crave the whole foods, but crave in a way that when you consume them, you're actually satiated for a period of time. Mm-hmm. That is a different snowball effect, which is more like the junkie effect of consuming simple carbohydrate meals or super sugary meals or palatable,
super processed,
fatty, processed,
fast
fried
food,
vegetable oil type food where you're craving the food, but you're eating it and you're still desiring more. There's no level of like, when have you ever just been so satiated by Baskin Robbins? It's like never.
No,
you're I need more of this until I'm sick.
Yeah.
Until I'm nauseous.
Until I hate myself.
Yeah.
That reminds me of I think it was Louis C.K.
Yeah.
One of his stand-up bits where he's like,
when is the meal over?
When is the meal over? The meal's not over when I'm full. Yeah. The meal's over when I hate myself.
It's so true. And honestly, like, this is such freedom. This is what we get to: freedom with your food. And you're listening right now to two formerly orthorexic individuals.
Yeah.
And me personally, I had a borderline eating disorder in the sense that I would binge hard.
Yeah.
And I didn't purge in the sense that I would make myself throw up, but
like 10 ice cream bars.
Yeah, and a box of cereal. And
whole box of cereal.
And even when I started eating whole foods, I ate just copious amounts of food.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to really get this out of my system. And I have to say, this is such an underrated aspect to a healthy lifestyle. It's just your body steering you like a compass towards the food that you know will be satiating, and it doesn't include bullshit. Kind of the next one that we were talking about, and it's kind of in the same lane of food and drink, but alcohol. Alcohol isn't necessarily a part of a healthy lifestyle. And so when
it's not.
Right. So when you stop consuming it outside of maybe the seasonal drink or two, you actually have a lot more money in your pocket because alcohol's hella expensive, especially if you go out and you're a guy and you're buying for girls. You get that buzz, which is what we want from alcohol. That buzz feels fucking great. I love a margarita on an empty stomach, on a Taco Tuesday with just a real gentle buzz. Feel like $1 million.
Yeah.
Or even a half a beer I had not too long ago, and just nice little buzz.
Little half glass of wine.
It's great.
Yeah.
And that is this little sneaky benefit to not really having alcohol in your life all the time, is you're a cheap date for yourself or others. And you get that feeling that you're really chasing, which used to take
so much sooner,
like 6 beers.
Oh, yeah.
Now is, a half a cocktail in on an empty stomach.
If that.
I can smell my brother's breath sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, my first sip of, especially if sometimes we'll share like an old fashioned.
Yeah.
Maybe once or twice a year. Like we go out to a friend's dinner party or dinner and we're at a restaurant, nice restaurant. We'll share an old fashioned. And the first sip, my legs are going numb.
I can feel it for sure.
The first sip, I'm like, oh, my legs are numb. And your whole body gets hot.
And it's funny because like the people we usually go with know that we don't really drink. And so when we're like, I'll have a drink.
Yeah, they're like,
oh,
really? Really? Like, whoa, we feel really special.
Yeah,
it's just
an
not.
honor
It's not like I judge it or anything. It's just
No.
It makes me feel like shit the next day if you're drinking multiple drinks. It's just not worth it to me. And sorry, there's other substances that are better, people.
Yeah, for me, it's the hangovers. I don't feel well. I know what it's doing from a toxicity effect on my body, but I am by no means someone who is anti-alcohol.
No.
I know a ton of people who have a really, really healthy relationship with their alcohol consumption. And there are ways to, dry farm wine is one of them. We've had them on a podcast where you can consume healthy alcohol, or at least kind of a net neutral.
Yeah, the healthiest version of alcohol.
Yeah.
Alcohol is never healthy. And the guy that we interviewed, Todd White, I think is his name.
Founder of Dry Farm Wines.
He says in the first 2 minutes of the podcast, he's like, alcohol is not healthy.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do it, get the healthiest version that you can.
Right.
That was a really interesting conversation. But yes, absolutely, that's an underrated aspect of a healthy lifestyle. The other one I thought of was when you've changed some of your habits and you've experienced the effects of living a healthy life and what those big boulders are. Things like eating pasture-raised beef, drinking raw milk, getting early morning sunshine in your eyeballs, regular sauna, these types of things. It becomes much easier to spot the health BS coming from 3-letter organizations and health influencers online. Like you scroll Instagram for, 5 minutes or less, and you'll see either like a headline or an influencer that's like pushing you to buy this product or do this thing because it's going to totally transform your life or whatever. And once you've lived this a little bit, you start to realize that's not going to move the needle. Or 3-letter organizations recommending certain health protocols. It's like, no, I'm sorry. I know for a fact Lucky Charms is not healthier than beef.
Right.
And that's a real example.
A perfect example of this is keto was really big 4 or 5 years ago. And I think it's a killer protocol to try on. There's a ton of benefit to it, but it's not just just inherently healthy because it's keto and because it was a diet. But you'll see brands, huge brands. We're talking like Kraft Heinz, Frito-Lay, some of these huge food brands in the grocery store, that when you're in the aisles, anything that's at eye level is the biggest brands with the biggest budgets because they've paid the most to be at your eye level in the grocery store, FYI. But they'll have keto on there. And I'll be like, what the hell is this?
Or Oreos are gluten-free.
Right. And so it's just a marketing play. And so when you start to consume whole foods and healthy, and you start to educate yourself on what ingredient lists look like and stuff, you're focusing a lot more on those ingredients versus kind of the labels that go along with them. Because you can make a lot of things fit into these little boxes that we create in diet culture and health culture. And that's one that stood out for me. And even the calorie conversation. Yeah, you're right. Lucky Charms, a serving size of Lucky Charms, which is like, what, a half a cup?
So,
Which is not a
cup,
serving
maybe?
size of cereal?
Chase is like, give me the whole box.
A steak has more calories than Lucky Charms. So yeah, if that's how you're defining
I don't know
health,
why it's going on. That was a real headline, by the way,
Right.
that some 3-letter organization funded by the NIH, the study funded by the NIH found that Lucky Charms, they had a scale of foods, and beef was like towards the bottom and Lucky Charms was towards the top. And it was just like, what is this actual clown town that we're living in? Or when that documentary came out a few years ago, it was like, What the Health?
yeah,
Or something. And they said that eating eggs every day was like, worse for you than smoking every day. I was like, what?
yeah, complete garbage.
Just insane. It's just insanity.
The last underrated aspect of a healthy lifestyle for me, this is kind of a, what's the term? Tongue in cheek. Is that the right term? Mm-hmm. When you're a lot of times as you embark on a healthy lifestyle journey, you have to leave some things behind that were part of your unhealthy lifestyle journey. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times that includes people, and it includes how you fill your time. Mm-hmm. When you start to make healthy choices, the lower vibrational people in your community will start to not want to associate with you.
Yeah.
And I will tell you that is a good thing.
Because you're boring.
Because you're a little bit more boring. You think you're a little bit better than everybody else, which is not the case, but that's how it's perceived.
That might be the story.
And so if they can't drag you down, they'll let you go. And that is a gift. So shed one tear for that phase of your life and then move on. Now you've got more Friday and Saturday night availability. It's not that to say that you can't go out and you can't still connect with people who maybe participate in things that you don't, but it is a nice natural exfoliation of your calendar as well as the community that you were a part of.
Yeah.
That for me, I found actually a nice little transition.
Yeah. Did you come up with that? If they can't drag you down, they'll let you go?
I just came up with that right now.
Wow. That was really good.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, watch out for those kind of people. If they can't drag you down, then they just let you go. Because they're all over the place. I mean, I could count on, if I had 10 hands, I could count on all 10 hands, the amount of people that I don't talk to anymore, don't stay in touch with anymore, that were only interested in me when I was, making good money at the firm and going out and partying a little. Thank you so much for listening.
If you enjoyed that, check out right over here for some more fun clips.
Oh, and you're going to want to subscribe.
Bye.